Manatees, also known as sea cows, are fully aquatic herbivorous marine mammals. Their order Sirenia comes from a legend about their discovery deriving from the sirens of Greek mythology, which were creatures that lured sailors with their enchanting music and singing voices to shipwreck them on their island. From eating food with low nutritional value and being out at sea for long periods of time, sailors would start to hallucinate and mistake the manatees for sirens. These gentle giants are very large, averaging 10 feet long and 1,200 pounds. A typical manatee is able to live for 50 to 60 years. They are mainly concentrated in Florida, but are found worldwide in rivers, estuaries, bays, and coastal waters. The reproductive rate for manatees is low. The age of sexual maturity for females and males is about 5 years. On average, one calf is born every 2 to 5 years, and twins are rare. Intervals between births range from 2 to 5 years. A 2-year interval may occur when a cow loses a calf soon after birth. The gestation period is about a year. Males assume no responsibility for raising the calf. Mothers nurse their young for 1 to 2 years, so a calf may remain dependent on its mother during that time. Manatees spend 6 to 8 hours each day eating. Typically, they eat 4 to 9% of their body weight in food. Manatees are herbivores and have been known to eat over 60 species of plants, with the most common being seagrass. They have a flexible upper lip that they use to bring food into their mouth. They do this by grabbing and tearing the plant with their lips. Manatees don't really have any real predators, but sharks, orcas, alligators, or crocodiles could eat them. However, since they don't usually inhabit the same waters, this is pretty rare. Manatees are large, slow-moving animals that frequent coastal waters and rivers. These attributes make them vulnerable to hunters seeking their hides, oil, and bones. Manatee numbers declined throughout the last century mostly because of hunting pressure. Today, manatees are at risk. Though protected by laws, they still face threats. The gentle beasts are often accidentally hit by motorboats in ever more crowded waters. Propellers inflict serious or mortal wounds, and most manatees have a pattern of scars on their backs or tails after surviving collisions with boats. When humans disturb manatees, it can cause them to alter their breeding, feeding, sheltering, and other natural behaviors, and puts them in harm's way. Feeding manatees, using water to attract manatees to a boat or dock, separating a mother and her calf, disturbing resting or mating manatees, chasing them from water sites, hiding or poking manatees, jumping on, holding on to, or riding these animals, all of these actions can cause manatees serious harm. The greatest long-term threat to manatees involves the loss of warm water habitat that manatees need to survive. Manatees spend their lives in the water, and that water has to be warm. Development on the waterways has impacted manatees' food sources, and so does runoff from fertilizers and herbicides. Manatees need to be protected from the garbage that people on boats dump into the already polluted bays and streams. Chemical pollution is also a major threat for manatees. Over time, it is becoming more and more difficult to protect the manatee as more people use their habitat for recreation.
Federally protected under the Endangered Species Act and the Marine Mammal Protection Act, some laws and regulations included controlling the speed of motorboats to protect manatees from rough collisions and harassment, as well as designate limited areas as safe havens for manatees to rest, mate, reproduce, feed, and nurse their young. The Sanctuary Act of 1978 also states that it is unlawful for any person at any given time, intentionally or negligently, to annoy, harass, or disturb any manatee. Updated and added research that has been recently found would be the Manatee Photo Identification Program, which is a non-invasive research technique that uses the manatee's unique pattern of scars and mutilations on their bodies to later identify the individual over time. This program is used to estimate annual adult survival rates and model population dynamics. Other research has found that biologists use forms of technology such as satellite telemetry. Technology like this allows researchers to better understand their movements, habitat requirements, and their natural human factors that affect their behavior. All 4 species of the order Sirenia are either endangered or threatened. Luckily, all species are protected to some extent by national or local conservation acts in every country they inhabit. The Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora also known as CITES, is an international treaty developed in 1973 to regulate trade of wildlife items, relating to which all species of manatees are protected by this treaty. Marine zoological parks help conserve manatees, most of which they are authorized to rescue and rehabilitate ill, injured, or orphaned manatees. As a priority for manatee rescues and rehabilitation programs, their number one goal is to return healthy manatees to their natural habitat. There are many other easy ways you can help to conserve manatees, such as adopting a manatee, obey boating rules near manatee zones, visit rehabilitation centers, donate money to a cause that supports manatees, avoid littering, and educating yourself, as well as sharing your knowledge about manatees with others.